Kabam pull out of New York Comic Con 2020, China are banning games and limiting spending on them, and the community sass Mickey on Act 1 of Book 2. Yes, hello everybody, welcome back to the Marvel Contest of Champions news from Monday. Hope you've had a lovely weekend. Obviously, it's not the best situation we're all in and we're going to be in it for a while, but hopefully you find some positives. Make sure to put on some of the content from the channel and make sure to support by hitting the like button, subscribe button, all that lovely stuff as well. Got a jam-packed news for you today, but obviously I want to give massive thanks to my current Patreons, YouTube members, and as well Twitch subscribers. And if you do want to give a free Twitch sub and have an Amazon Prime account, then you can do by following the on-screen instructions. Obviously, there are some people in some countries where Amazon Prime you can't link it up for some reason. But for those that can, please consider giving a sub to myself. I am streaming a lot more on Twitch nowadays, and as well doing about 3 streams a week. So hopefully you can come across to that and check it out. And as well, I'm going to be bringing some streams back to the main channel, doing a lot of 6.3 and as well some other stuff as well. So thank you for that. And as well, hit the like button, subscribe as I just said, and leave a comment down below about some of the stuff we're going to discuss. And I will join you shortly to discuss stuff and interact with you as one does. Let's quit all this jibber jabber and get into the news, shall we? Our first story is a little bit of a reminder about the Contest Run podcast. As you know, if you want something to listen to for an hour, then check out the podcast. This edition is episode 13. We talk about the champion design philosophy. So we talk about the idea of Kabam putting in these new champions like Terex Mole Man, compare it against the ones of last year. Is it big yellow numbers over utility? Is it a case of like we're seeing certain champions have more aspects of things like debuffs that they're meant to have, passive debuffs, those kind of things. We do it with Cam with the podcast of champions. Check it out, links are in the description down below. Next up, and it looks like we've got missing icons. Missing icons obviously is something that's kind of annoying to kind of like just go through the game and go, oh right, so that's a dark screen, that's a dark screen, and it can get really, really bad. This is a bug that seems to be kind of rising in the last week. And first of all, it looks like it's device specific, with a lot of players even saying this is Samsung based devices, but no, some people are being affected by this on iOS devices as well. With obviously in its worst case, it's actually on screen at the moment, and yes, even uninstalling, it does actually make it worse. So, you know, uninstalling, reinstalling is a terrible thing at the moment. People are saying as well, like iPhone 8 Plus, people saying Samsung devices, it is widespread. With a lot of stuff that seems to be appearing, especially like in the last update, this 26.1 I want to say, I hope the 26.2 or maybe like the next iteration of the update sorts out a lot of problems, including some of the stuff we're going to see or have seen in incursions. In some positives though, it looks like Kabam are on the case or know about this, with Kabam exhibit saying, hey there everyone, the team has been alerted and is taking a look at this. But to be brutally honest, this may be a case that this will be sorted out as well as many others by the update. Obviously with about a week and a bit left to run, this will probably be when we see a large chunk of this actually being sorted out. Next up, and with China banning online games for chatting purposes with foreigners, will this affect things like alliance-based participation, the Lion app, and many other things surrounding Marvel Contest of Champions? So it's reported by the Taiwan News, as well as many other outlets, that there was going to be a big restriction on interaction. In particular as well with online gaming, with a curfew being at 10 PM to 8 AM, which depending on how strong this could be actually enforced, it could really affect those players that log in to play Alliance Wars or Alliance Quest. At this given time, I don't know if this is a serious thing, and obviously if anybody is in China and obviously can give me more information on this, because it is difficult to find anything, please contact me as well. Like contact me on Twitter, on Discord, you name it, just contact me, links in the description. But obviously Kabam aren't really kind of putting anything about this, so it doesn't look like this is actually a serious thing. With many players actually using things like VPNs in order to get around a few things from China, you know, watching YouTube, because you can't watch YouTube there, and as well accessing to certain games. So I think that is where things will come down the line of, and as well, will this affect alliances? It's really hard to tell at the moment, but this was an interesting article, especially because it looks like this is more targeted at younger people as opposed to older people. And as well, like talking about the idea that, you know, they want to restrict the amount of spending on certain games, and how they're able to enforce that, again, is another thing of how that is actually done. But it'd be interesting, as I said, to have someone from China actually contact me to let me know, you know, what's actually going on. Has this actually been enforced? Because that's another thing. And as well, are they in that age bracket or know of people that have been affected, especially from an alliance-based participation? Because, you know, they may not be able to be active to play, or maybe it depends when things like war seasons end, start, those kind of things as well. Next up, and it looks like Marvel Contest of Champions, Kabam, are not going to be representing and have a booth or any kind of presence at this year's New York Comic Con. I personally believe anything that's Comic-Con or convention related is very irresponsible to go ahead, especially in this year. There's been so many problems, obviously, with the pandemic that has really not stopped. It seems to continue on. And obviously, San Diego Comic-Con has decided that they are going to cancel theirs, which is in July. And the other major thing about New York Comic Con is that the Javits Center is currently a temporary hospital. And depending on the usage, it could be a case that this is needed into deep summer, which would then mean that they would have a limited time to deep clean the Javits Center. And as well, at the same time, they have to be responsible about the distance created between each person. Because let's face it, a lot of people that go to Comic-Con, including myself and so many others, have either come back with things like a cold, and obviously the spread in such a confined environment, which, even though it's a large venue, it is confined with the people. So take somebody just to sneeze, to just go like that, and you know, you've got some particles going out and people get ill. So large crowdings, gatherings are not advisable, especially if you want to do something like a Comic-Con. Obviously, Kabam as a company have the responsibility to look after their members of staff, and at the same time, you know, making sure that those staff are safe when they attend conventions is vitally important. However, there is some disadvantages to the promotion side of things for Marvel Contest of Champions, and as well with live competitions and entertainment, and as well Marvel Realm of Champions. And as well, like a lack of hype for Marvel Realm of Champions going into a potential release in about 2 months' time is ridiculous. So it's a case, there needs to be a lot of work from Kabam, and obviously to interact with players and obviously think about what's going to happen in October. I really hope that this is a good opportunity for Kabam to then interact more with players that are not normally able to attend New York Comic Con. And what I mean by that is like putting on something different. If October and anything is to go by, then having something that interacts the vast amount of the player base, whether or not it's something of a live tournament that is then, you know, having players kind of do like a special kind of shootout, like we've talked about with so many different ideas. I think Seaton's had ideas and other players have had ideas. I think Brian Grant has had ideas as well. Maybe something that is not requiring people to be in the same room would be great. And the other thing is to say that 2021 is a very important year because it will be our honeymoon. Myself and Em will be having our honeymoon in New York. So we'll be doing like a week in New York, and then we'll be doing a few days for New York Comic Con. So it's going to be a very, very kind of like busy and fun time, and I'll be reporting on anything that happens at New York Comic Con 2021. So obviously support the channel, help out by hitting the like button and membership and whatnot. That'd be great, thank you. Next up, and what are people's thoughts on Kabam and Act 6 in comparison to what they could see in Act 7? Act 1 of Book 2. So Raymundo put this post up late last week saying, so excited, please do us a favor and don't let the team that designed Act 6 do Act 7. Act 6 wasn't very fun for the most part. Hopefully whoever designed 6.2.5 has been fired, as well as the 6.2.6 champion fight. Obviously many people having their say in this forum thread. And as well, Mickey has got himself involved. There he is. What's he got to say? He says, it's definitely the same team, but I think I would argue that we've learned a lot because a lot has changed in Book 2. It will be harder than Act 6 for sure, though. That's definitely a natural progression. Anyways, we're not going to talk about Book 2 until the beta test. If you've selected to take part, yada, 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 if your feedback thing. Obviously, by that notion of saying it's harder does make me think that means that Kabam aren't going with the idea of, okay, we're doing a fresh start, similar to obviously doing Act 1 as it is with the Elder Saga. It's going to be obviously a continuation rather than a new book from the right start. So, you know, 2 stars, 1 stars, those kind of things, which is slightly good and slightly, well, I don't know. it's just a continuation, which does it mean that we'll have the originality of things like variant 4? No, I doubt it completely. Will it be a case that you'll have to use, you know, Kabam have created these 6 stars that you now get to rank 3, and obviously rank 4 won't actually come about until 2021. If you've been following the channel, you'll know that. So the problem is, where do they go from here? So you'll probably go, right, so that's why I'm using my rank 3s, my rank 3 6 stars. It's going to be in book 2 of Act 1, or Act 1 of book 2. It's very confusing. Obviously, I'd love to share with you more extracts from people and thoughts from this particular thread, but as most threads go, and this will probably be closed at some point, is that people fall out. But I think one thing can be said is that was Act 6 fun and interactive? I think it's a case it was interactive, but obviously the fun side of things is more shared for things like variants. Now let's move on to arena predictions. Based off of what I've seen the results so far, these predictions are fairly fresh. So 2 mil for Man Thing. I would say if you really want him, push at least about 2.1 to 2.2. The champion went for 2 mil flat, but I would say if you want to be safe, go for that like 2.1, 2.2 mil bracket. Morningstar, 38 to 40 mil, which I think is very fair based on what we're going to see again with the results. And as well, you get that bracket safety as well, which getting a champion is vitally important. And as well, when it comes to the 4-star Morningstar, 7 mil, it's going to be absolutely safe, but it looks like the champion will probably be able to be got at 6.5 to 6.8 mil. But it's up to you how much you push that. And finally, the 3-star version, 900k. I've seen it go for about that in some of the results. So yeah, those are my predictions. They were down below, so make sure you've seen that with a time code and a stamp. Just to confirm those cutoffs, obviously these are results here with 2 mil flat getting that 4-star Man Thing. With Blue Owl picking up the 149 position with 35 mil, but obviously it's important to be safe and get the champion. That's a bit too close for my liking, close to that point where you'll probably lose out. So that's why I went with 38 to 40 mil. Ricardo's picking up a 7.3 mil 3-2-3 position, which is obviously, like I said, it's probably like 6.5 to 7 mil. So go for that range next time. There we have it. That's been Marvel Contest of Champions news for Monday. Check out some recent content up here. Check out some supporting links here. I will be live streaming some Variant 1 over on Twitch. So obviously I'll let you know over on Discord, Twitter, and as well other places to say I'm live on Twitch. I'll be doing some Variant 1. And then I'll be back on here to do some 6.2 or 6.3 grind for exploration. I look forward to seeing you then. Thanks and bye-bye.